Welcome. You're now listening to episode 20, Start of Play Football. As always, myself, Theo, and Kojo. What are you saying, Kojo? You're good?
Yeah, I'm good, man. Yeah, I'm still buzzing from the game at Old Trafford. I know we're going to get into that now, but yeah, I'm still buzzing. So, yeah, I'm good, man. How are you?
Yeah, I'm good. Busy, but good, man. Sometimes it's good to be busy. But I'm happy with the football. I'm happy that we're into the semi-finals. I'm happy that we avoided each other, so we will hopefully get each other in the final. But we're going to get into all of that. But before we do that, please make sure you subscribe to the channel. Make sure you go to the YouTube, all the usual stuff, the usual plugs that I do, the Spotify, the Apple Podcasts as well. Make sure you go follow all of those as well. Also, Free in Midfield as well. The link to Free in Midfield will be in the description, so make sure you go there, subscribe there as well on YouTube. And again, the podcast is audio version as well. But let's go to last weekend, or weekend just gone. Some difficult games, but some good games at the same time as well. Let's start with very quickly. Let's just start on the Coventry Wolverhampton Wanderers game, which was a game. I think last week I said Coventry can get a result there. I think I did say that.
You did.
I did. But very good game from Coventry. I was really impressed with them. I thought they played in a way that I know that they can play. I've watched them a lot last season as well. They just missed out on the playoffs and promotion into the Premier League. But against Wolves, who are so inconsistent, did that result surprise you that they actually got the win in the end? Albeit the last kick of the game, but they got the win eventually.
Yeah, I thought when Wolves turned it around, I thought, the Premier League quality is now starting to show through. I mean, Coventry are a good side in general. I always say if you're from the Championship level and above, you're a really good side, and if you're League Two, you're decent. But I think after Wolves were 2-1, I thought, okay, the story's written now. It's done. And then extra time is announced, and they heard 9 minutes, and they said, yeah, we're taking advantage of that. And even the goal to win it as well, the first time finesse, I'm here for that, man. That's the beauty of the FA Cup has been missed because we've been seeing essentially I'll call it as it is. City have been dominant in the League Cup and the FA Cup. They have been. So when you know that they're going to a final or at least a semi-final, no one really has the excitement anymore. To have Coventry there is huge. They're in the semi-final, so even if this is their last stop, that's what the FA Cup's all about. You know, the team in there to go and do something like that. You know, in League Cup in the past, it was Southend being Man United. Before in the past, in the FA Cup, it was having a Waterloo going to Anfield and giving Liverpool one hell of a game. You know what I mean? You always need your teams going out there and doing the thing. So, yeah, man. It's a great win. It's a great win for Coventry. And something that will help propel them throughout the rest of the season, give them the need to keep going in it. So, yeah, man.
It was, I mean, I was impressed with them. I thought, like I said, I've watched Ellis Sims a lot, even when he was at Everton. You know, he's a good player, holds up the ball really well. Had some good chances as well. I think, if I'm honest, I feel Coventry should have won that game very early on. I think they left themselves a lot of work to do. But like you said, the Premier League experience from Wolves kicked in, but they just switched off. I don't know what happened to Wolves. When you go, I think it was 2-1, wasn't it, at one point?
Yeah.
I think anyway. And I think when they went 2-1 up, that was the time for them to really be switched on, really show their intelligence and that, so I suppose, experience as a Premier League club. They didn't do that, and they switched off a lot, and they allowed Coventry back into the game. And you could sense when you said it then, you know, the stoppage time, when that came in, and you looked at the clock and you thought, right, there's like 9 minutes or something of stoppage time. Coventry had to go for that. They had to go for it, and they did, and they paid off, and they done well. So I was impressed with them. I'll be honest, I wanted them in the second. Let me land first. I wanted them in that round. I think I said last week one of my mates is a Coventry fan, but I don't want to play Coventry. If we get to the final, I wouldn't want to play Coventry in the final, because I think, one, it's one of them games that if I'm sat with one of my mates and we're watching this, it's going to be tense. But also, I don't know, man. It'd be nice for Coventry to be in the final, obviously, but I want Chelsea to be there. But I want them. It's a nice, easy gateway into the final, isn't it? Let's be honest. Out of teams that are left, you know, we got City, you got Coventry. It's a nice gateway into going into the final. But let's talk the big game Sunday. massive game at Old Trafford, a game that pretty much gave us everything we needed in an FA Cup tie. 4-3, Man United come out on top. Again, another last-ditch goal. Brilliant goal as well, man. I loved it. Give me your thoughts, Man United are through to the final. Another stepping stone for Eric Ten Hag.
Another one, man. Another game-saving job game. No, I know it was so dramatic, and it was kind of a throwback to the games that gave. It's kind of what United fans grew up on and loved. It's the drama of supporting Man United. Sometimes Man United put you through the stress. We had other sides first. No matter how many times we won stuff, we had where we'd be horrible or we'd be up and down and so open, and suddenly score and win out of nowhere. But there was a different level of desire in the team that you could just see. And there was a different level of also quality that we hadn't seen from this team in a while. And I'm going to shout out Kobe Manu in particular because I know everyone's screaming about him and raving about him. I've been careful because he's a young boy, got time for youngsters to develop and take their time. But he's looking like genuinely he's ready to take control midfield. He's the ball, he commands the ball. He always shows up for the ball. He's not afraid to take on players. And he's got maturity about his game. And in that first half in particular, I don't care if Liverpool went ahead 2-1, went into 1 at half time, because we'll get onto that. He was the best player on the pitch by a mile. By a mile.
1,000%.
Mile. So good. Obviously, we go ahead, McTominay scores, but then what United do, which we've been complaining about for the last 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 years, is they switch off out of nowhere. And when they switch off bad. To concede those 2 goals were poor. It was so poor. And then Liverpool tried to take over. And I think there's been a bit of discord about Liverpool being, I guess, the better side than United. There's a thing about United sort of getting away with it, and they got down to just 2 teams going gung ho. I don't completely agree. Now, Liverpool dominated possession a bit more, but we limited them to not many clear chances. And one time when they equalized and then they hit the post, when we equalized, and then they hit the post, that was supposed to be a cross. That was a bit of luck that he got on Javier, that is, and all that. And then it was just 2 teams that were just going like this, just going back and forth. It was very open. They scored for a deflective goal, and then they did what we did. We were very complacent with the ball near the area. McTominay capitalized, get the ball to Rashford, who, by the way, bloody hell, Marcus Rashford. Bloody hell. You're going to give people heart attacks, man. That miss, I don't care if we look back now and say he was offside.
You got to finish that. You got to finish that. Even if you're offside, because there's a slim chance that you could be on. Remember, we got, I think, VAR in the FA Cup as well. You got to finish it. It don't matter whether you're offside or you think you're offside. Those chances have to be buried. And if you're offside, then great, you're offside. You still scored. Do you know what I mean? But when you miss it like that, it can't do anything for confidence and for the fans as well.
Yeah, I agree. Completely agree. It was baffling. Genuinely, when he took one of the best touches from a ball over the top, I had SC, and I was like, wow, you've literally set yourself up in one touch. Now just tuck it away. And I literally got off my seat thinking, it's done. And nope, he missed. And then he had another one later on where he put through and he placed it wide. He's a weird guy, but he's so good. Rashford's so good. I'll never doubt his quality. The guy's a brilliant footballer.
Doesn't it annoy you though? Sorry, just doesn't it annoy you that he's got it in him? And not to say that he doesn't do it all like consistently, because he does it more than he doesn't, if that makes sense. But you kind of want to see it every game. Like, he can do what he does against like a Liverpool, or he can pull some trickery, or even like you just said, that touch, and unfortunate with the finish, but he's got it in him. And sometimes he goes missing in games quite often as well, but he's got it in him. So he's one of those like frustrating players for me, because I know he's got the quality to be one of the best. Like, we've seen it. I think we said this a couple of weeks ago on here. Like, he's one of the best players in the Premier League, but he just doesn't. He has moments where he just switches off, or something doesn't go his way, and then he kind of just like goes missing for parts of the game, man. And to me, that's frustrating to watch as a neutral.
Yeah, no, I agree. I mean, I put him next to, I don't know if we want to talk about him on today's pod, Raheem Sterling a little bit, in the sense of, their finishing, the end product in general is just so up and down.
Yeah.
But you know, when they're on it, there's hardly anyone better than them on that pitch. It's incredible to watch. Because then you see the chance that the goal that he scored. He's made the run. He looked here, and the ball is a simple pass, but you still need to finish it.
You still got to finish it. Yeah.
And he's placed it beautifully into the corner, and I'm like, it's not a harder chance, but it's still a difficult chance. Football's not that simple, you know. So you know he's got it in him, and I know he's got it in him. But the funny thing about it is, United fans have been they've been very critical of him this year. If you look at his past 2 months, every game he's played in, he scored or assisted. So for the people that love numbers,
he's doing well. Yeah, come on, he's doing well. He's doing what he should be doing as a forward player for United. But again, sometimes you watch him and you think you can do more. Like, your numbers are looking nice, but if you just applied yourself a bit better, you could actually be better in terms of numbers as well. Like, it's mad. You can't criticize him because he's doing the job that he's supposed to be doing. But at the same time, there's another level that he goes to every now and again, but he doesn't stay there. He drops back down a level, and he's got for me, he's got to stay at that level because we know he's got it. He's capable. And if he'd done that, I don't think even, you see all these, I think we spoke about it, all these stories that people bring out about him, and he has to do that sort of thing where he has to pull out loads of statements. I don't think people would care. I feel like it's mad. It shouldn't be this way, but I feel like people get onto him because they know that he's good. He's at that level, but he just doesn't apply himself. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
again, I don't disagree. I think it's just a weird situation with him where you just sort of, you don't know if you have the patience
that's it.
to see if you can, I know you're going to contribute goals, but in the moments where we need you to make other key decisions,
you got to be on it, man. You got to be the guy. Yeah. You have to be the guy.
Facts. No one can ever be 10 out of 10. There's not one player in history that's always been 10 out of 10. So you can bring your Messi's, Ronaldo's. Obviously, I never got to, apart from clips, watch a Pele or Maradona, but they were never always 10 out of 10 either. It's not possible for anyone to be a 10 out of 10. You can only do that on a game console. But but regardless, if you can just be at least a 7, close enough most of the time,
a consistent 7, I think is what I expect from him. At least bare minimum. If you do it 8, 9, or 10, then great. You've probably surpassed what people's expectations are for that game. But I like him. I know he comes with a lot of scrutiny, a lot of criticism, but he's a player that, like you said, on his day, very much like Raheem Sterling, on their day, they're going to give you something, and they're going to give you something good as well. And they might get you a goal, an assist, or something that changes the game, that goes in your favour. But when they do that, it's good. It's good stuff, man. But I feel, before we move on from the United game, obviously the winning goal by Diallo, he does need a round of applause, because I'll be honest, do you know what was weird? He made that goal look so easy. But anyone who's listening to this or watching this, go watch that goal back and see how hard it is. I can't remember who's on him. There's a defender that's on him.
Bradley.
Is it Bradley? And he's kind of trying to usher him away from goal slightly. So for him to be able to get that ball on target into the bottom right-hand corner, I think it is as well. Lovely goal. You see that goal when it went in? I'm not going to lie. Sorry, Liverpool fans, but I was the loudest person in Liverpool that day, man. I'm sorry. You would have heard me from streets away, because I was like, I can't believe it, man. It was a good goal, man. What's your thoughts on the goal?
I'm just delighted for him, because if you keep an eye on Man United's sort of social account for the fans and all that, a lot of people have been screaming for him to get minutes.
Yeah.
The boy's good. The boy is good.
Where was he? Was he injured? He went on loan and got injured as well, didn't he?
He went on loan to Sunderland. Came back. He was injured. He was injured a bit, but then he's been sort of just differing on the bench. He's not just been getting the chances. And we all know that Sunderland are playing at that time. I think they were playing League One last year. They got promoted, but I think we all can see when there's a player that just stands out above the rest, and they're of a certain level. And we just scream for him to get a chance. Just give him a chance, man. Just give him a chance. Because Liverpool loaned that Conor Bradley to League One last year, and now look at him this year. He's getting a chance, and he's good. You've got to give the boy a chance. He won the ball, started the counter-attack, just stayed alongside Garnacho. And like you said, the finish. The pass wasn't the best.
Exactly. And he still made the most of it as well. The pass weren't the best, and he still took the touch and tucked it away.
Exactly. What a player, man. Honestly, I hope this is the start of wonderful things for him. We paid a lot of money for him, if anyone remembers. So I hope he gets his chance to shine, man. He's a quality player, man, and I think he's got a big future. So we've got Mainu, we've got Haaland, we've got Garnacho, and we've got Ahmad.
Yeah.
You've got to capitalise on that. You have to capitalise on that.
And the thing that you're doing well now is you're getting things off field set up for those players that you just mentioned. You're getting it set up for them. So, the technical director, I think there's going to be an announcement about a technical director in the next 48 hours. Obviously, other people behind the scenes have been appointed in the correct way as well. And you look like you're trying to get things off field, right, for the players, the future of United as well, and bring in some other maybe experienced players to sit around them. But you're doing it the right way. So I think that for me personally, we did an episode, 3 weeks ago on United and the takeover, the Ineos takeover. Getting it. For me personally, you're getting it right. So you can't knock United. And United fans have been screaming for this for time. They've been screaming for change. This is the small bit of change that I think might turn over a new leaf, new page for United. What do you think?
I think so. They're doing everything that we asked for. And at the end of the day, look, if it doesn't work out, the one thing I've always asked for is if you can just give it your best shot.
100%.
If you're doing everything as an owner to try and improve the situation, and the situation doesn't improve, at least we can sit there and say, you know what, he's giving. It's like Palace. I know Palace are discontent with the board right now, but I know there's also an overriding feeling that they know that their chairman has tried his best. He's got to his limit. But he did everything in his power to upgrade him, but now they need something new. They need a change.
Yeah.
It's fair, man. So, yeah, man, try your best. That's what they ask for.
Let's talk about Klopp, very quick. Jurgen Klopp, who he wasn't on English media. I can't remember what country it was. I'm going to say maybe Belgium, Danish. It was Danish media asked him a particular question. And I don't know if anyone's seen it, but obviously he's kind of come out and just got frustrated by the questions that had been asked to him. He kind of walks off in a huff to an extent and just walks off, leaves the interviewer standing still. I feel like if this was Arteta, if this was Poch, if this was Erik ten Hag, if this was any other manager in the Premier League, I feel like there would have been a lot more coverage and outrage, whether that's right or wrong, how that interview was handled or how he was spoken to. Because as much as you're frustrated, you've lost the game in the last minute of the game, and you've lost it in the fashion that you did against a rival. Like I said last week, for me, Liverpool United is a bigger rivalry than Man City United in a way. So he's obviously lost it on those terms. He's out of the cup. The quadruple's out now. They can't get that for him. Like, I just feel that he gets a lot of protection, Jurgen Klopp, and I don't know whether he's ill or whether he's just mentally drained, mentally exhausted. But you can see the passion for football is draining out of him slowly. Do you know what I mean? Do you think it was the right way for him to handle that situation, or do you think the backlash? Because he did get some backlash from. I don't think he was fat shaming. I think that the interview came out and said basically that he wasn't meaning it in those. The context of what he was saying was basically misconstrued and whatever else. Do you think Jurgen Klopp is always given a get out of jail free card when it comes to things like that? He's not the first time he's sort of lashed out. I remember he had a rant about the 12:30 kickoffs and how Liverpool are always the ones who have to do it. And then he had the injury thing. If you remember, he spoke about the amount of games being played and the referees and all the rest of it. Do you think he gets like a get out of jail free a lot more than some of the other managers in the league?
There are two managers that get out of jail free card, man. We all know who they are.
Name them, man. Name them. Let's name and shame them.
Mr. Young Klopp and Mr. Pep Guardiola. It is.
Yeah, man. Come on.
It is what it is. Look, with Liverpool, and I used to always say they're media darlings, but I mean, we all know their issues with the media in the past as well. So I won't tag them with that. However, what I will say about Jurgen Klopp is this: he's got previous. He did the same thing in Germany as well, in terms of just different behaviours. It wasn't always these kind of disputes, but the question that the journalist asked him wasn't bad. Now, if our journalist asked him a silly question, I think we'd all be like, okay, come on, you're being you're being ridiculous here.
Your tweet made me laugh though, because you said the dumb bit threw. Was it you that said the dumb bit threw you off?
Threw me. Because he just said, so he asked me about the intensity, and he goes, "That's a dumb question." I was like, "What? What? What do you mean it's a dumb question? You guys are known for your intensity. Against Chelsea, you went to extra time, and you brought in young guys, and you were still going through it. Your fans were singing loud. You had the energy. You guys were going through it. Your captain scored the winner. So why is it against all? Like, why is it dumb for the guy to come and ask you about your intensity in this game? I don't understand." Yeah, 9,000 loud Liverpool fans that we could hear throughout the whole stadium through the TV, depending whether you're there or at home. You could hear them loud as day. They're a very passionate fan base. You had that behind you, and you had a bit more experience on the pitch this time. Don't come and tell him that is a dumb question. What is that about? And then he says he tries to elaborate, say, maybe you've played a lot of games this year. You play a lot of games in a short amount of days. Something like you have complained about.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
You complain about a lot of games, and you complain about your 12:30 kickoffs, because Liverpool do get a lot of early Saturday kickoffs, which is weird. I do think it's weird as well, but you get them.
Yeah.
So he's kind of on your wavelength, and you're still not happy. So what is it? So I think you could be right. I think it could be just like he's just done. He's just done. He'll do everything for Liverpool. He loves the fans. He loves the players, and when he goes out there, he'll give it his best. But I think the other aspects of it, he just doesn't want to entertain it anymore. But you're still in the job. So whilst you're still there, you gotta be. Unfortunately, you gotta run it. Yeah, and if you don't want to do it, tell the club, I don't want to do any media work, and they'll get someone to do it in your place. This is how football works. I'm sorry. So I don't agree with his behaviour, and that's for the other guy, Mr. Guardiola. Look, this is a club that has 115 charges, and the media only talk about 115 charges if it trends on social media. I'm just going to be fair. That's it. The only person that's called it out of nowhere is Ian Wright. Ian Wright went on Monday Night Football and literally said, City are great, but guys, come on. They've still got 115 charges. That's the only place you hear it.
Do you reckon that's that? Because I was having this conversation with someone the other day, actually, and we were talking about the Nottingham Forest. I think they got announced that they've got a 4-point deduction, and obviously Everton were in an uproar because they got, I think, a 6-point deduction and all the rest of it. And I think, to be fair, Forest have done more non-compliance than compliance. Everton have done a lot more compliance and worked with the FA and the Premier League to try and, resolve issues and whatever else. And Nottingham Forest have kind of been reluctant and apparently have hidden finances and all the rest of it. I don't know if that's true, but that's what I'm hearing. With City, and I don't know if this is correct as well, so someone in the chat or whoever quote me if I'm wrong here, but is it not to do with UEFA, some of their charges, the 115? So I think it comes from and I get it, we still need to talk about it. We do, it's a big thing, it's 115 charges, but I feel that because it's on Monday Night Football, obviously they're not bothered about UEFA, really. They're only bothered about the Premier League. So I kind of think, are they ring-fenced to not talk about it there? Do you know what I mean? On the Champions League night, when it's Haaland and we're talking about, City could win the Champions League or last season, because them charges have been there for time, haven't they, I think? So when they were winning the Champions League, to me, that is when everyone should have been in uproar and said, hold on a minute, they just won the Champions League. They got 115 charges. What are we doing? What are we going to do about that as a collective, as a governing body? Yeah. To me personally, that's when you should be screaming from the rooftops. Nah, this ain't right. They've won the league, the Champions League, and they got them charges sitting there, and we're all looking like fools.
I don't disagree. I think. Look, I've said in the past, from on my socials as well, that I've said that the reason why you're not going to hear anything, whereas with Everton and Forest, you hear something straight away, is because they essentially have one major charge to deal with. Whereas if you're talking about 115 charges and you're expecting to release every charge altogether as a whole, whether guilty or not guilty as after your findings, it's going to take a lot longer. It's just going to take a lot longer. But that's the point I just want to make is you have to continue to talk about it.
Oh yeah,
it will be droned out. You can't keep waffling about it on forever as if you're a journalist or whatever. But it also can't be ignored for months end.
No.
Then randomly noted and said on one Monday Night Football or on the overlap because you have Big Steve on there. You need to talk about it. There's a lot going on here, and if they have doped to the point where it's held them to go and get players and break the rules when getting these players and this help. The charges have to be hefty. 115 charges is unprecedented. You never heard of this before. So
true.
if they are guilty of even 10, there has to be a major charge here. And I'm not talking about finding them money. You want to find a state money. You want to find a state.
But this is what they're banking on. They're banking on that. They're banking on, for me personally, and I've always said this, even if it's a different, if one is the Premier League and one we're talking about UEFA, which again, I'm not 100% I'm correct on that, but if that is the case that, one particular governing body, footballing governing body is looking into it, and then there's another one, I think they should all be done in the same season. I think you can't give someone a points deduction one season and then in another season start deducting points from another one, because you could theoretically say, imagine City go on to win the league this season and they go on to win the Champions League this season, then how is that fair? Like, how can that be fair? Back to back. Imagine they do back to back Champions Leagues. Then you got to think about like the money, the prize money that you get for winning it, all the rest of it. Like, there's so many layers. And I don't know if this thing that I've been reading about Parliament's commissioned this sort of what is it they call it? I can't even remember now. Have you heard about it? Like they've brought in like a regulator. Sorry, that's it. Brought in like an independent like regulator. They're trying to bring that in. I think it's gone through like the House of Commons and all this madness, but I don't think that even that's going to resolve things. Like for me personally, 115 charges or not, they've had plenty of time to look at this now, and they could even do it in like chunks. Do you know what I mean? Look at maybe 30. You're guilty on those 30 or not guilty. Okay, let's look at the next 30. You're guilty or not guilty. Okay, let's look at the next 30, and then so on, and then leave the next 25 at the end. So, me personally, I just thought that, like you said then, because it's a state. Remember, they've got a lot of power. Whether people want to admit that or not, they got a lot of power. And yeah, for me, if it ain't resolved by the summer next season, boy, someone needs to look into that thoroughly and see what's happening, because something ain't right there.
I agree.
Me personally.
And I agree with you, actually, because if the charges, you can even section the charges into different things: financial fair play, how the transfer was structured, their wage bills, and how they've managed to get past all that as well. It's so many things you have to scan. But that, you're right, you could do that. Then what do you do if they've broken transfer rules? Maybe a transfer embargo. How long? The only people I feel sorry for are the players. They're the only people I feel sorry for, because if you've been brought in, signing a contract, making sure that you just go out there, quite frankly, you go out there and do your best to win trophies. And if your club is, essentially your trophies are tainted. And then if they're stripped away as well, what's your hard work for? I don't know.
I do feel sorry for some of the players, but then at the same time as well, I think I don't. I don't. No, I'll tell you, not just for the fact they're on big wages, but I feel like sometimes as well, you got to do your own due diligence. So I think there's like a Doku, for instance, who just signed for them, last season. Grealish signed for them like this season before that, I think, or whenever. So those players surely would have thought, like these charges are coming up against this club, I might not sign for them, because then I'm tainted with the same brush and, tarnished with the same brush as them. But if you want to sign for the club, this is a risk you take. You could sign for a club and they go bankrupt in 2 years. So it's just a risk you run when you sign for a club, or take any job on. You could take on a normal 9-to-5 job and the same thing could happen to you there. So I want to talk quickly about Raheem Sterling, because the Chelsea game, Leicester game, intensity was high. It was a good game. Obviously, we let Leicester City back into the tie. Again, lovely goals from Chukwuemeka and Noni Madueke to seal the game eventually. But I don't want to even talk about the game, because the game is the game. We won it in the end. But I want to talk about the toxic fan base that seems to be spilling out now. And I did say this was going to happen on my other podcast a couple of months ago, that the club will notice a massive change in direction from the fans. The fans usually back the owners, or they back the manager, they back the players, but you're seeing it now. I think there was a substitution on Sunday. Mudryk was coming off, and then there was boos. Then Sterling was coming off. He got booed off. the manager they were told, you don't know what you're doing. The same thing happened against Brentford. They started calling for Jose Mourinho, chanting Roman Abramovich, and it just felt very like the fans have had enough now, and they've had enough already. 18 months, like 2 years into the takeover. What's worrying is I don't think fans understand that, because I keep seeing people say, "Oh, we just need to get them to get out the club, get Todd Bowley out the club." We can't do that. Like, I don't think people realize this guy is here for another 8 years minimum. He has to be, that whole structure of Blue Co and Clear Lake and all of that has to stay here for 8 more years. Like, it has to. It's part of the agreement that Roman was selling the club. Whoever comes in, they can't make any profit or sell the club within the first 10 years of owning it. So they're here. My worry for Chelsea, Pochettino especially, is it only takes, like, for instance, Burnley, 30th of March, lose that game, lose the semi-final to Man City. I don't know where he goes from here, because he looks like he's lost the fans now. Fans have stopped turning up to games. Like, what games are I watching? And there's empty seats. My boy that I do the Chelsea podcast with, he said, yeah, there's empty seats in the West Stand, there's empty seats in the East Stand. I'm trying to think what game it was. It was the Monday night game, whenever that was. I can't remember who we even played now.
Right.
Newcastle. So yeah, you're right there, Newcastle. Yeah, so that game, there was empty seats in every stand. That very rarely happens at Stamford Bridge. The ticket exchange, loads of tickets on there. Like, there's tickets available. You can just get them now. So I think fans are wising up to that. But what's your thoughts on the whole thing with Chelsea, with the booing especially, like for Raheem Sterling, who, for me, yes, deserves criticism, but booing, I can't be part of that, man. To me, that's mad. That's mental.
Nah, I mentioned the booing as well, and I've got a friend called Jerome, who lives in Australia. He's a massive Chelsea fan. He comes to England at least once or twice a year to make sure he goes to games. And he said, "Look, it's not just the free kick." I mentioned the free kick in particular, and it's not just a free kick. You know, he took the penalty away from Palmer, and he did this, and he did that. It's just been poor. And I said, "Look, I understand it's a combination of things, but I can't sit there and boo a player. I'd rather just not respond. I'd rather just not clap. Silence can hurt more, if I'm being honest, but I don't want to give the energy of the player to make it feel like I hate him. I can't. It's with someone that was never ever fond of Marouane Fellaini, but anytime I went to Old Trafford, if he was poor, I didn't, say.
You just don't say anything. Yeah, you just saying nothing. Say nothing, man.
Just go out, just applaud and just keep on going. Like, try and get them to elevate their level, because at the end of the day, we have the same goal, we want to win together, innit? I think what your fan base is struggling to deal with is the fact that Abramovich really spoiled your club, man. No matter who the manager was, you were winning things. Chelsea's record at winning things, despite changing managers, it's incredible. It's genuinely incredible. You compare it to when you guys were winning, compared to Real Madrid, who changed managers every so often, and they weren't winning near enough what you guys were winning. You know what I mean? They're competing as well as you guys were, and they were buying Galacticos, if you want, for lack of a better word. So I don't agree with the behaviour, but look, I think it's a product of just being poor. United fans have gone through the same thing as well. When there was a period of time where we just weren't doing well under Jose, boos were coming in as well. Hogs had as well.
What does it solve though? Like, for me, I don't see me booing Raheem Sterling. One, I don't think he even gives a shit. Like, I'll be honest, any player, not just him. I don't think they care. If you're ever, you might care for the 90 minutes or the half an hour you got to sit on the bench or whatever time you get subbed off. But the next day you wake up, you might still be like, now, what day is it today? Wednesday. The game was on Sunday. I bet you Raheem Sterling's not even that fussed about it now, to be fair.
Because the fans are fickle.
You got to develop thick skin, man. And and if he scored the penalty, they wouldn't even boo him. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Fans are fickle.
What's going on?
Fans are fickle. This is why I was mentioning the thing about being spoiled, because we've all enjoyed great periods of time, and now that our team is struggling and the players are not, I guess, Sterling is not near Hazard, or Petrovic is not near a Czech, or I don't know, whoever else you want to bring in. The defenders are not near Terry or what's his name?
Carvalho,
Gary Cahill, or Carvalho, or whoever else you want to bring up. Football works in cycles, and unfortunately, you need to just go through the cycle. But the one thing I'll say, even though Chelsea's transfer policy with Bowley has been so, ridiculous, the one thing that you have is a lot of promising youngsters. Look at the names you mentioned. Chukwuemeka, Noni Madueke, Cole Palmer. There's so much potential.
Even Malagusto, like I think he's probably, I think he should have got, I don't know if he did, but he should have got man of the match on Sunday. There's potential there. I just think I'm at that stage now where I'm like, okay, let's just see what happens. Like we could either go for free fall and end up mid-table for the next 6-7 years. If that's the case, then that's the case. And like, what do you want me to do about it? I'm not going to be able to buy the club. I can't take over, so I got to support the club. Or we could go on a mad run and compete with the top teams again.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So it's one of them, like, booing players to me is just mental. I do think there still has to be a bit more man management, like you just said then about, Sterling taking the penalty off Cole Palmer, who's got a better conversion rate. I'm pretty sure I heard on Sunday, Raheem Sterling's only scored 1 penalty out of like 18 or something like that. I'm sure I read that or I heard it. I might be wrong again. I might be just spitting like fake news this whole podcast episode, but I'm pretty sure I read that. Now, if that's the case, and we don't have a designated penalty taker, so I find that baffling when you don't have one, but Cole Palmer's obviously got a conversion rate there. He shows that he can take the penalty. For me, he's got to do that. But for booing him, to me, makes no sense, man. Because if he scored a hat-trick against Burnley on the 30th of March, what are fans going to do? Boo him or clap him? Because I think they're going to clap him. And he takes a match ball home. So what now? Yeah. So I don't get it, man. I don't get that. I don't get that at all. But let's wrap up with some news that shocked me yesterday. I was thinking, you know the worst thing was? I came back from football last night and I didn't check The Athletic until I got home. So when you read something, and I was tired, man. I was tired after football. So it's an intense hour of my life yesterday. I read it and I thought, is this right? Or you think April Fool's early. I thought, hold on, it's still like the 19th of March when I was reading this. I thought, nah, this can't be right. So for anyone that wonders what I'm talking about, what I'm rambling on about, Sir Jim Ratcliffe, I called him Sir, just for you, Kojo, is eyeing up appointing Gareth Southgate after the Euros. Gareth Southgate apparently wants to get back into club management. This is meant to be his last international tournament. There's talk about Erik ten Hag stepping down as United manager. Well, not stepping down, being forced to step down, and replacing him with Gareth Southgate, who has been out of, it's got to be 11 years? Out of probably even longer, actually, 11 years or so out of club football. Could even be longer, actually. But anyway, my point is he's meant to be coming in as the next United manager. Kojo, being a United fan, out of the two of us, give me your thoughts, man. Please, give me your thoughts.
Yeah, if that happens, you'll see me on this podcast begging Erik ten Hag to come back. I'm going to tell Erik, I'm sorry. I apologize for everything I said about you. I believe in your philosophy. Come back. Nah, it ain't gonna happen. I'm just gonna say that right now. I'm a big fan of speaking things into existence. It's not going to happen.
But if it did happen, though, let's say if it does happen, I do think there might be some pros to it. More cons, but there could be some pros to it.
What could the pros be? Because I don't see anything.
I'm trying to help you, man. You gotta help me help you. Them ones there. But I look at the squad that he's got there, and I don't know, actually. If anyone sees on the audio version, I'm smiling like a Cheshire cat because I can't I can't even see the pros in this one. But I think when a new ownership comes in, someone takes over something, they always want to try and stamp their authority a little bit, don't they? And it is usually the manager that is the first point of call to change something, to go, and they change. And I don't know what they see in Gareth Southgate. Maybe they see how close he's been to winning stuff. I don't know. I still don't think that's a good quality to have, that you almost won something. I just think you was close, you was second, the first loser to something, in my opinion. But I don't know what they see. I think tactically, I don't think it would work for United. If I'm honest, I think tactically it worries me. I think we said last week, we talk about, he's only taken 5 midfielders. I think that's changed now with Kobe Mainoo being brought in to the senior squad. But if he tries to play how he plays with that England team, with United, No boy.
I'll put you to like this, bro. The 4-3 win does not happen if we have Southgate in charge.
Yeah, you'd lose. You'd probably lose. You'd probably lose at 5-3 in the end.
Yeah, I agree. We're not winning that game. So I don't have any confidence in him. Look, we've been linked in the last 24 to 48 hours with him, Nagelsmann, Ruben Amorim, and Thiago Motta. There's a good Thiago Motta one. I'm not really sure. I've not watched Bologna or Italy, Italian football Serie A enough to even form a opinion on that one. So he could be a dark horse. That's actually really good. I'm a big fan of Portuguese football. So Ruben Amorim, I'm a big fan of his. For me, he's a top coach. I think.
Yeah, I want him still. I want him.
Right. If to be fair, looking at the way your squad is, I remember I've said in the past that Poch is the best for youngsters. But if you're talking about having the idea of just taking a squad and using the best of it, it's him. Because if you look at his track record, every club he's worked at so far, he's worked at a couple of clubs already as manager. He exceeded expectations in all of them. So much so that Sporting paid what for them would be a major transfer fee of £9 million for him from Braga, and then he won the league. So, he's good. Nagelsmann, I think everyone knows how good he is. He left. He kind of left. Actually, got sacked by Bayern, but that's because he had beef with the owners rather than lack of performance. Because they were good. So we know how good he is. Southgate just is not the best candidate out of all of those names I've said. It's just what it is. So I think it would be a major mistake bringing him in. And if Ten Hag is to stay, I don't mind. Just because I say, I always say 3 years for a manager. I know I just say earlier this season that he's not convincing me and I don't see it. I still don't see it, but you can't sack a manager if he gets you at least to an FA Cup final 2 years in a row, and he might get top 4 considering the fact that Villa and Tottenham are starting to look shaky again. It's just, he's been given a lifeline, so we'll see what happens, man. But if he does not come in, it has to be Nagelsmann first, and Amorim second. It has to be one of those two. It can't be Southgate, bro. It just can't. Otherwise, the age limit on this podcast wouldn't even be 18, bro. It might have to be 30. Because the way I'm going to be swearing or cussing out here might be.
We'd have to put like a warning, a disclaimer at the start. But
exactly.
I think there's a couple of things that makes me believe that there is opportunity for United want opportunity to try and bring Southgate in. One, English manager. Ratcliffe obviously probably wants, I don't know. I always think that's a big factor when you look at managerial decisions that are being made now, especially with a part English owner. I just think they're going to, I think Southgate's contract runs out in December. So I don't think he's got any intention to stay on as England manager. I think he made that kind of clear when he extended to this tournament as well.
Yeah.
I look at Southgate and I'm thinking back to Qatar, I'm thinking back to the Euros before then and how depressingly defensive his games are. And when he should attack, he defends. When he needs a goal, he sticks on a midfielder or a holding midfielder or another defender, and he just doesn't change things tactically for me in the right way. I personally would be happy to see him at United. Obviously, I'm a Chelsea fan, so I want to see him there. But from a United perspective, I think it's a dangerous appointment. But I can see it happening, and that's the worrying thing for a United perspective. I can see it happening more so than the names you mentioned. I think Jim Ratcliffe wants to bring in someone maybe that he feels more comfortable with, maybe that he can control a bit more. Like I see a lot of these owners now, they want to try and bring in like yes men a little bit. And we have to all admit, Gareth Southgate is definitely a yes man. He's been a yes man his whole life since Roy Keane stood over him when he was at Crystal Palace. He's been a yes man since that day. So I kind of get it, but at the same time as well, man, there's talk. I think there's talk on, I don't know if he was on this podcast, it's all kicking off podcast. Apparently there was talk that Erik ten Hag won't even survive his managerial career at United, even if he lifts the FA Cup.
That would be a mistake. We did that with Louis van Gaal, and I think we not that I did it. I wasn't mad at Mourinho coming in because I thought he was going to win our trophies, and he did. Obviously, it didn't end well. But looking back in hindsight, again, I wouldn't switch. I wouldn't change Mourinho coming in. But I think the way it was done, if you wait for him to actually win the trophy, as he had the players are around him, it's worth giving him another chance. So that's what I'm saying. If Ten Hag gets to at least to the final, because a game against Chelsea or Man City can go either way. You know, it's what it is. And he somehow gets top 4. Yeah, you can't sack him. I'm sorry, you can't. You can't. So yeah, they got to keep him. So yeah,
you want to hope there's no sort of early pre-agreement with Southgate either before or after the Euros, which could easily happen. I think that
let's keep it real. There be no agreement. Don't even chat. Chat to put the phone down now.
I'm just saying that I feel that this news coming out, it's come out for at this particular point for a reason. I feel like it's either because they want to get something in motion before the Euro starts, so everyone's clear on. Do you know what I mean? Don't want to disrupt the England camp. They don't want any sort of speculation over his future going into that tournament. Or you leave it till after the tournament to announce it, but it's already been done before. Do you get what I'm saying? So I feel that's where they're trying to go with this. And as I said, as a Chelsea fan, I want to see him. I want to see Southgate. Imagine Southgate being manager. The irony, Southgate manager of United, and Roy Keane has to sit there week in, week out and talk about him. I'm going to love that. I'm going to love that, man. But let us know your thoughts in the comments, man, about what we've spoken about today. Let us know about, obviously, the FA Cup games. Who's going to go on to win the FA Cup? Before we wrap up, Kojo, who do you think can go all the way, non-biased hat on, and win the FA Cup?
I think you'll have a United-Chelsea final. I think if we go to the final with each other, I am quite worried that Chelsea will beat us. But I'm going to back my team all the way, of course. The reason why I think you guys can beat Chelsea and beat Man City, to get to the finals, because I think everyone doesn't seem to put in there or remember, maybe apart from you and other Chelsea fans, that Man City haven't beaten you this year. And quite frankly, they found it hard to beat Chelsea. It wasn't the other way round. So I'm just saying, I don't think it's out of the realm of possibility for City to lose in the semi-final. I know they're going to be the overriding favourites forever until whatever, but yeah, I think we can have an old school Chelsea Man United FA Cup final, and I can't lie, I need revenge on you guys. You and your Drogbas and all these beating us in final, man. It's some revenge, man.
I mean, I'll be honest, we haven't got the best record in Wembley appearances of recent times, anyway. But I said if we don't get Coventry City in the semi-finals, they've rigged this draw on Sunday to make sure it's an all Man United or Manchester final, and I feel that's what they're aiming for, and I think City can do that. I think City at that point in the season, it's a critical part of their season. They're going to be going for it. They're going to go for it, and I think we just have to be better than them on the day. But if we get past them, I do think we stand a very good chance of beating United in the final. I'll just put it out there, but it's a massive test to get beyond City first. But let us know your thoughts in the comments about that. Let us know who you think can go all the way. Let us know what you think about Jurgen Klopp. Was he wrong to handle the press conference in the way that he did? The booing of Raheem Sterling, is it justified? Does any player deserve to be booed on and off the field as well? And also let us know what you think about Gareth Southgate's hopeful imminent appointment at Manchester United in the upcoming months, man. Don't forget to subscribe to the YouTube and the Apple Podcasts, and also Free Midfield as well. Make sure you do all of those things for us as well. And we'll be back. I don't know when we'll be back, actually. It might be a week or so. We're going to talk about the offline, so just keep an eye out, get the notification bells on, and then, yeah, we'll be back, man. Thank you very much.